So first things first, how are you? That's very good to
How are
hear.
you?
I'm okay. I'm not too bad. So before we get into the new album, I'd like to start where kind of the band started. Now, the Cosmic Cafe, what kind of place is that?
It's kind of like a live house,
Okay.
like indie bar, live house in Bangkok. Yeah, Pirak, that's his name. He was like a house guitarist there,
Okay. And how did you start?
and
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
What? Sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we jammed, and then we were just like, well, the owner was like, oh, you know what? You guys should do a show. So we did a show, and then a few shows after that, and then he brought in this guy, and now we're together.
What did you play that first show? Do you remember?
Yeah, we played like 3 songs. ใช่ไหม?
ประมาณ
Yeah, and the 3 songs are from like the first album.
Okay. So immediately your own work, it was kind of. Did you have those songs written already?
Well, yeah, the songs were sort of written. Yeah, they were written, but they weren't really arranged
Mm,
into like a full band kind of sound. But then after I met him and then him, we kind of turned those like acoustic demos into like fuller kind of songs.
hmm.
I gotta stop it.
Because well, I read that you started writing songs by yourself in your bedroom and everything. And what once you met these two guys, what changed for you? Were you always looking to form a band?
Yeah, yes and no. Like I had a few bands before I met these guys and then it didn't work out and at one point I kind of gave up on like working with other people
Okay.
and then just somehow I ran into these guys and it just worked. And I was like, "Oh, all right. Okay." Just about when I was about to like give up completely. So, yeah. Sometimes it's just by chance as well.
So you wanted to quit music or just
Well, not really quitting music, just kind of like quit working with people.
okay. So what made it different then? What made working with these two guys different? What made it work?
Um, Not sure. We're still working things out. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's because we kept at it. That's
Mm,
probably, and none of us kind of gave up on what we're doing, and that's probably the only difference.
right. So when you started writing and when you started bringing out these songs, what was kind of the ambition that you had?
I think it was more like because I've always played music alone in my room,
Mm,
alone, like a loner. And then when I met these guys, it gave me that like band experience, like in the movies, like oh you have a
sure.
band, and I think for me it's like playing with music. Playing music with other people. That is already something cool because it's kind of like like you only have one color, right? But when you have
Mm,
more people, it's just they add more colors, and that already to me is just like it's just nice to see other colors,
mm,
and see like you like say if I like wrote a song and it's kind of like seeing that song in different colors,
mm.
right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does because
Right.
well, I was going to wait, but in terms of kind of then going from the first album paper to Peppermint Town now, that I see it in a similar way where the colors have expanded, where the kind of the palette
Right.
that you're painting with is much broader now. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
Yeah, it's just like I think in a way we have the same vision. We just have more palette, like more paint.
Hmm. Well, if you after making Peppermint Town, how do you look back at the first album, at those songs?
เหมือนอันนี้เรามีมุมมองอย่างอื่นที่เราเอาส่วนที่เราไม่เคยมีมาเติมแต่ของอัลบั้มเดิมคือเหมือนต่างคนต่างมีของมาที่แบบเหมือนเก็บมานานแล้วเราก็ใส่ไปตรงนั้นจนหมดแล้วอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับแล้วพอ
Okay,
อันเนี้
that's
ย
really
มันเหมือนเราเลยหาเขาเรียกนะหา
Shit.
experience ใหม่หา
Do you want to help me translate
พูดยังไงดี
just quickly?
อืม
It's I think so I'll just help jump in here. So what Rank
Go
is
ahead.
saying
No worries.
is that Paper to him was an album where they already had put everything into it. And I think when they worked on Peppermint Town, it was almost like a surprise that they had even more to put into the album, right? So when you look back at Paper, they're like, oh, okay. They thought that was all that they had to put into it already, but actually there was more. right? That's what I get from what P-Rag
Right.
was saying.
Is that part of being a creative person then? And it can be music or art or anything, but to kind of challenge yourself and see what else you can do?
Right, of course, because otherwise you just get so bored. Like, otherwise, like, why would you do the same thing twice? Right? But I mean, also, like, I feel like when I look back to paper, it's like, it's kind of, it's like, it feels like looking at an old photo,
Hmm.
you know? Like, yeah, it just feels like you're looking at an old photo. That's like, just to sum up that feeling. Like,
Sure.
it was never like, oh, we evolved, or we whatever, or we not evolved. It's just kind of looking at this one time, we were like this. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you kind of continue then, because paper came out, I think,
Quite a long
2016.
time.
Yeah, 2016. Since then, how did you kind of develop the sound then? Because you all come from somewhat different musical influences, right?
Right. How did what? Who?
Did you develop? How did you develop kind
Right.
of the musical
I think it's
direction?
I think it's a lot of like gear wise as
Hmm.
well. Because on the first album, Paper, like we did a lot of just like because me, I played just the acoustic guitar and he was just on the electric guitar. He just plays the drums. It was more like a one person, one instrument per one person kind of jamming kind of vibe. But for the second album, we kind of we worked a lot on the computer on the program. So it like we used more on on the keys, like the keyboards, the strings, and kind of like where that could take the songs, you know, like even though it's like
Sure.
the same chords, but when you change the instrument, it gives it completely like dynamics, complete like different vibe, right? So was that the question?
Yeah.
Sorry, because when I talk, I sometimes I just get super sidetracked and I just kind of forget what the question was to begin with.
No, that's good. That makes my job
Okay.
easier. Just if
Right.
there's something
Okay.
that pops in
Yeah.
your
I
head,
just walk and I just like
yeah,
kind of like
that's fine. We'll take a walk,
okay.
and
Yeah.
that's no problem. Well, one thing about that is now you mentioned kind of. I don't know if this is a good question, but you mentioned earlier that you like the band sound, but I also saw something of where you mentioned that you like to be alone as well. You like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So how do you balance that world between being in a band and kind of having people watch you play music and but also have that time for yourself?
Oh, okay. Well, you're right. That's a really good question because I still struggle with that. Like I
Okay.
still don't have the right like the proper answer. But what I do is just when I go on stage, I just close my eyes. And
Okay.
seriously, I just close my eyes and I just like because when you close your eyes, wherever you at, it's the same,
Hmm.
right? It's the same. You can be in a room, close your eyes. You can be on stage and you close your eyes. It's the same, right?
Hmm.
So I just close my eyes. Is that the question?
And
So
then
I don't.
the other guys then, well, how do they approach playing
เรา
live?
รู้สึกยังไงว่าเหมือนแบบชอบอยู่คนเดียวใช่ป่ะเราทำเพลงแต่แบบพออยู่บนเวทีก็ต้องมีคนดูเรารู้สึกว่าแบบมันขัดกันหรือเปล่าหรือมันยังไงใช่ป่ะ right
มันไม่ได้ขัดมันมีทั้งแต่มันดันมีมุมเขาเรียกความรู้สึกอื่นเข้ามาเหมือนทั้งตื่นเต้นทั้งเขินไปในตัวทั้งอยากจะให้เขาฟังคือมันมีทุกอารมณ์เข้ามานะเวลาเดียวกันตอนทำเพลงโอเคเราอยู่คนเดียวแล้วเรามันก็อินไปกับมัน
okay rap I need your help
อืม
go again say again
เหมือนว่าคือโอเคตอนทำงานกันเองมันก็แค่โฟกัสกับสิ่งที่เราต้องทำใช่ไหมเหมือนอินไปกับเพลงแต่พอมันอยู่บนเวทีเหมือนเรามีหลายๆอย่างเข้ามาเพิ่มมีฟีลลิ่งอื่นมันก็มีทั้งความตื่นเต้นความประหม่าบ้างเขินบ้างเวทีไม่ชินบ้างหรือเกิดอะไรขึ้นณโมเมนต์ข้างหน้ามันต้องแฮนเดิลกับเหตุการณ์ที่มันเกิดขึ้นอีกเยอะ
Okay. So basically, you know, when they're playing alone, it's very much just them. But for Rack and Tao, there's a lot of excitement when it comes to playing with other people because it's a lot of different things that they're not quite used to. So, you know, like the energy of the crowd, anything unexpected, they'll have to kind of put up with that. So it's more than just, you know, it adds up to the experience for them, right? So it's a bit different from how Pi handles it, which is just to close her eyes and ignore it.
yeah well
Let me ask you this, Senpai. Do you enjoy it?
that's a very good question as well I'm not sure like it's like a love-hate relationship
Okay. Because I always find this interesting because I hear this more from artists where they don't really like that exposure.
Yeah, I get it. And it's like, why do it, right? It's like,
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, not sure. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like you want to share, like, cause okay, when you're alone in your room and you do this thing that you do, and it feels so good. And it feels like you got to share this, you know? And it feels like, okay, you got to share this, but at the same time, sharing it takes a lot of courage, you know?
Sure.
So,
sure.
but just for the sake of this, like this really good feeling and you want to share with people, you kind of like, yeah, I can do this because I want to share this to whatever, right? And you just do it, even though it
Sure.
kind of kills.
Well,
Right.
I find that interesting. So now you have a new album. It's pretty much done, I think.
Yeah.
Is this a very nervous moment for you then, because it's about to be shared?
Yeah. Yes and no. I don't know because I feel like when you're in like when you make a record or when you make like films and stuff, like we're in the future. You know?
Sure.
Like all the stuff is done, so all the excitement, it's like we already felt that, but it
Right.
just hasn't been released to other people. So for us, it's kind of like we're working in the future, and it's just kind of like when the album's about to be released, we're exciting, but it's just we're not that excited as when we just recorded it or just
Right.
mixed mastered it, whatever.
Is
Because
that
now
creative?
we've been sitting with it for like a few months now, so we're just kind of like
So for you, it's
started.
very much about the creative process. That's where the passion is, in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it like, and how do you write as a band? How do you write songs? Do you start with a kind of a demo thing and then you work it out, or are you together with the three of you in a room and create something?
Well, for this album, we okay, because like first album we're like super like let's meet up, but then after that we've gotten lazy, right? So for the second album it's like, yo, you got any cool riffs, like can you send me a loop or like drum solo or something? So it's like someone will start something, right, and then we'll just like choose one that has the most feeling, and then we kind of went from there.
Okay.
Like whether it's just words or like vocal melody or like guitar riffs or just drums, we just pick one that has a strong feeling, and then we add on to it. So it's kind of like a circle.
Okay.
It's just kind of whoever starts first, and then whoever kind of like feel like they have something to add on, and that second person comes in, and then we pass it on like in a circle until the song's finished.
So if we take a song like RINN, did that start? I can imagine that started with a guitar riff.
That started with a guitar riff. Yeah.
So can you take me through that process? What was it like? How did that song come about?
Well, RINN, okay, ไม่แน่ใจว่าเริ่มยังไงนะ
เริ่มมาจากลิปกีตาร์พายก่อนตอนแรก
Okay.
แล้วก็
It's okay. I think I remember. Okay, so it started because I came up with like an acoustic guitar riff, and then I sent it to both these guys, and then he refined the riff later, and then he just added the drums. But then it wasn't kind of like it quite yet. So then after we having met with our producer, he kind of helped with that because it's quite like a rock kind of flavor, and we're not so rock. We're like very folk people, and our producer, he's like very rock, and he helped us realize our rockness, sort of. Not even rock, it's not even a fucking word, but you know what I mean, like he just kind of tuned everything together and just kind of made it work.
But I think that's because I listened to the album and it is very eclectic. There are it's not just like you say indie folk or anything. There's a lot of different styles and textures to the music. So how did you kind of arrive or find these 10 songs? What were you looking for in these songs?
I think we like Well, I mean, have you seen that shit? Of course you've seen it. Disney's Fantasia.
Yeah, long time
classical
ago.
music and Well, so we were like, that's kind of like our like we like that, and then that's what we kind of want to like make, sort of, but like with our own music. So, because we love that kind of stuff, that kind of chemistry between sounds and colors and emotions and just, magic, and we just wanted to capture it or make that, not even make that, like capture it. Not capture, what is it?
Record it.
Record, yeah, just kind of like make it like,
กลองอ่ะ
well, kind of like okay, like I think like in music you have like a verse hook,
Sure.
right? But I feel like we can, like, what if we just change the verses into like something else? It could
Right.
just be something completely different, but as long as as long as it grabs attention,
So
it
you're
doesn't
not-
need to be like a hook.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not bound by any structure in a way. There's
Right, yeah, but then it can't just be like too abstract, because then otherwise it's just like a soundscape, right? So it needs to follow a little bit of like verse hook, but we're not using hook as a repeating hook. It's just more like a repeating ambience or something.
Right. Well, this comes back if I let me ask it differently. How important are the lyrics for you?
Very important.
Okay, because I see a similar thing where it's not just the same thing, like you say, verse, chorus, and it's the same thing. There's
Right.
more fluid motion
Right.
through the lyrics. So
Right.
so where do you write from? What is your inspiration? Personal life?
Everything. What did you say? Life?
A personal life? Just
Personal life?
what you experience?
Yeah. Because like I feel, I mean, if it's not real to you, then you can't write it. It's like you could be like, oh, you can write about pain, but if you don't really know what that's like, then it's just kind of like guessing. You know what I mean? So you gotta kind of write about what you know.
And then
I think.
do you talk about what you write with the guys? Do they know what the songs are about?
Sort of. I do. I tell them.
Okay. Well, because
Outside scoop.
because sorry, I wrote down a couple of things, and there's a couple of things in the lyrics that I find very interesting. One is there's a lot of reference to, I would say, nature or the outside world. You talk about the sky, you talk about the oceans. How important is the environment for you?
It's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it inspire you in a way?
Well, I think it's because like I think a lot of these songs, like from Peppermint Town, a lot of them, like I write kind of like in a way like I miss the mountains, like I miss the rivers, because I grew up not in Thailand, I grew up abroad, like, and then I went to college in Oregon, and there were a lot of trees and the mountains and stuff. So I kind of like I think I wrote mostly about missing my childhood.
Okay.
Like the surroundings, like the trees and the beaches, the sky, the night sky, because in Bangkok it's a very city. You don't really go out to see the skies because you can't really see the sky. It's like pretty much polluted with red clouds.
Right.
Yeah. So I think Peppermint Town, for me, it's a lot about kind of like longing to visit those childhood memories. So and a lot of the childhood memories were the nature stuff.
Okay.
Because it weren't the humans. Weren't the humans. It's mostly like, yeah, it's mostly the sceneries, like the clouds and
Because that's what I wrote next to Pitch Black is nostalgia. There's a kind of a way of looking back. So where did Pitch Black start?
Pitch Black? I think Pitch Black, I meant like Oregon.
Okay, fair enough. There's one other thing I wrote down about. Let's see, in Dear All the Universe, the kind of the final track of this, you mentioned Peppermint Dreams.
Right.
What is a peppermint dream? I tried to Google it, but
Peppermint Dream. Actually, well, I'm this album. Oh God, I'm so like self-centered. Everything's about me. Yeah. Anyways, so Peppermint Town, the name Peppermint Town is actually from Peppermint Grove, like where I grew up. It's a boarding school I went to in Perth, and I was in that boarding school for like 6 years, and I still dream about that place.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes and goes every time, and the dream is just me in the school, just kind of walking around in Peppermint Grove. So I was like, okay, you know what? This time, since everything happens in the dreamland, right? And then
Mhm.
for some reason, I feel like that dreamland, for some reason, it's there. It's all in Peppermint Grove, because
Okay.
it's like my dreams, memories, kind of, yeah. So I
But
call this whole album Peppermint Town.
but does this go into kind of where the band name comes from then as well, where it's an alter ego, it's this shadow
Yeah. So
world or
yeah, I feel like like My Life as Sally Thomas, like chapter 1, whatever. It feels like kind of like bits and pieces of the whole film,
Mm,
right? And like the
right.
second album is just slowly kind of spitting out like other parts of it, because I feel like Allie Thomas, Peppermint Town, it's all from the like same universe, I guess.
Because I don't know what the music scene is like in Thailand, but you're looking at I don't know how to say this. You have a very international approach, I would say. I mean, you
Okay.
write in English.
Right.
So what is it that you hope that this album can do for the band?
I don't know, maybe for traveling. It'd be kind of cool if we could travel outside Thailand. Because that would mean that we get to travel because of our music.
Well, yeah, I didn't ask that question right, but I mean, it
Right.
says South by South. You went to South by Southwest, which is a
Yeah.
very international showcase festival. So
Right.
so, do you have your mind set on playing abroad, like you said, to travel?
Well, I mean, it's not more like, okay, it's not like we set our minds there, but we just, for South by Southwest, we just, we were so lucky that we were invited to play there. So we were just like, okay, let's go. But it wasn't more like, let's go to South by Southwest, I think we just, in a way, we're just kind of going with the flow, wherever our music takes us.
Right.
And so yeah.
With that in mind, then obviously this past year has been really crazy, and most of, at least I don't know what it's like over there, but here most of the live music is shut down. So
Yeah, it's same here.
what is that like for a band that is kind of on an upward trajectory to all of a sudden have everything halt? And was it a good thing so you can focus on the album, or?
Or we're pretty lazy, so we didn't mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And you like
I
spending
mean,
time alone as well, so that's good.
right? Because so now we get to like go on a holiday and play tennis. Like we don't have to rehearse, we don't have to practice, we can go karting. So I mean, it's like we're not complaining. I mean, it sucks for business, sucks
Sure.
for the label, but we're not complaining.
But have you been very creative then in this period?
Well, I think like Peppermint Town kind of like, it was like a big chunk of whatever, and I think we're a bit burnt out as well.
All
So
right.
I think after recording, after production, after everything, I think we're all right with the pandemic.
Okay.
I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it sucks,
Yeah,
but like we don't mind taking a break from the business. Yeah.
Okay. Last question then. What do you hope that when people listen to the album, what do you hope that they hear in it?
อยากให้เขาได้เขาเรียกนะให้เขาได้รับหลายๆ feeling มั้งเพราะในเปเปอร์มินท์ทาวน์ค่อนข้างมีเพลงที่มันค่อนข้างแตกต่างกันพอสมควร
Yeah, I think Rack, the guitarist, said that he wants people to feel many different kinds of feelings because there's 10 different songs in there, and each one he wants to evoke a different kind of feeling in each song.
Right.
Yeah.
เราเหมือนแต่ละเพลงก็น่ามีหลากหลายอารมณ์ด้วยอะไรเงี้ยบางทีอาจจะไปโดนกับความรู้สึกของใครบางคนที่ฟัง
Okay, so that again, it's quite similar. There's all the 10 songs have 10 different moods, moods and feeling. So he hopes that Tao hopes that at least one of them will hit somebody at one time, will be relevant to somebody at one time in their lives.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, it was